Good morning, students. Here we start with the ligaments of the knee joint. In the ligaments of the knee joint, the first ligament we are going to discuss will be the ligamentum patelli. Next we are going to discuss, along with the ligamentum patelli, we are going to discuss the tibial collateral ligament and the fibular collateral ligament. These are the collateral ligaments. And then next we are going to discuss the oblique popliteal ligament. Along with oblique popliteal ligament, we are going to then discuss the arcuate ligament. And finally, in the end, we are going to discuss the cruciates. So cruciate ligaments are two, and these two cruciate ligaments will be the anterior cruciate ligament and the posterior cruciate ligament. These are the ligaments which we are going to discuss. The first two ligaments, capsular ligament and synovial membrane, we have discussed in the earlier segment. So the knee joint ligaments, we always start with capsular ligament and synovial membrane. These are the two main, the first two ligaments which needs to be discussed. And after that, we are going to discuss in line these ligaments. So mainly our today's topic is concerned about the cruciates and the collaterals. Along with that, the first ligament that needs to be discussed is ligamentum patelli. So therefore, this will be patella, just a simple line diagram where we are showing this will be the femur, and of course this will be a sagittal section, infrapatellar articular surface of the femur. Over here we are going to draw the section of tibia. So on the tibial tubercle, where my finger is there, there will be the lowermost attachment of ligamentum patelli. And we are going to simply draw the ligamentum patelli, and this ligamentum patelli we are going to draw in this way from the apex of patella till the tubercle of the tibia. This is ligamentum patelli, and this ligamentum patelli is formed by the fusion of quadriceps femoris muscle. So it is an extension of quadriceps femoris muscle stretching from the apex of patella till the tubercle of the tibia. And this ligamentum patelli will be relaxed in any actions, extremes of flexion and extension. Whenever certain ligaments of the knee joint become taut during the extremes of flexion and extension, ligamentum patelli will remain relaxed. So therefore, this is the ligamentum patelli. This is the first ligament as of today's topic. Next, we are going to discuss the tibial collateral ligament. In order to discuss the tibial collateral ligament, we shall draw another line diagram, and that line diagram is coronal section. That line diagram we are going to draw as the coronal section. So therefore, coronal section from the front we are going to draw. This will be the femur. This is femur, intercondylar notch. These are the two condyles. And over here, this will suffice as the medial and lateral epicondyles. Similarly below, on this side we are going to draw, this will be the tibia. So here, this is the tibia. One side we are going to draw the fibula. So on this side we are going to draw the head of fibula. Here I am going to write down, this will be the head of fibula. Tibia, fibula, lower end, these are the condyles of femur, and so this will be the, not medial, this will be the lateral condyle and medial condyle. Over here, this projection, this will be the lateral epicondyle, and over here, this projection, this will be the medial epicondyle of the femur. Now tibial collateral ligament. We are starting with the tibial collateral ligament. We have finished ligamentum patelli, now tibial collateral ligament. First statement will be, it is morphologically represented as the continuation of the ischial fibers of erector magnus muscle. Please note down. This is asked in 1 mark question answer. It is a continuation of ischial fibers of erector magnus muscle, and this tibial collateral ligament is divided into 2 parts, superficial and deep. As they come down, they are divided into superficial and deep. The apex or the upper end of tibial collateral ligament will be attached to the medial epicondyle of the femur. So therefore, here if I draw the tibial collateral ligament, this is where the tibial collateral ligament is attached, upper end, at the medial epicondyle of the femur. Lower down, this tibial collateral ligament is divided into 2 parts, 2 slips, superficial and deep. The superficial slip here will pass and it will be attached to the upper part of medial border of tibia. Upper part of medial border of the tibia. That is where the superficial slip of the tibial collateral ligament is attached. Now the deep slip of tibial collateral ligament. This is the deep slip of tibial collateral ligament, which will be attached to the upper part of medial condyle of tibia, exactly above the attachment of semimembranosus muscle. So therefore, above the attachment of semimembranosus muscle on the upper border of the medial condyle of tibia, there will be attachment of the deep slip of tibial collateral ligament. So here, this is the deep slip of tibial collateral ligament. Superficial slip, it is going down to the upper part of the medial border of the tibia. So there is a space or a gap between the superficial and deep part, and in this gap there will be presence of semimembranosus muscle. Here we show in cross section, this will be the semimembranosus muscle in between superficial and deep slip of tibial collateral ligament, and also there will be presence of artery and vein. So therefore there will be presence of inferior medial genicular vessels. Also there will be presence of inferior medial genicular vessels. So these are the structures which are present between the superficial and deep slips of tibial collateral ligament. 1 mark question answer, or they may be asked in MCQs also. So here you need to mark this. We are going to mark this as tibial collateral ligament, and we are going to mark this as semimembranosus muscle, and we are going to mark this structure as inferior medial genicular vessels. So these are the structures which you need to mark, and this ligament represents the primitive origin or the continuation, morphological continuation of the fibers of ischial part of the erector magnus muscle. So here we finished our tibial collateral ligament. One last important point of tibial collateral ligament will be, in the diagram itself you have to draw the capsular ligament. If I show the capsular ligament as yellow color, note down that the capsular ligament, as we had discussed in the previous segment, it is reinforced medially by tibial collateral ligament. That means the deep fibers, the deeper fibers of the tibial collateral ligament, they are continuous with the capsular ligament. So here this will serve as capsular ligament. Deeper fibers, they will continue as the capsular ligament, or they are attached to the capsular ligament of the knee joint. And similarly, these fibers will provide attachment to the peripheral margin of medial menisci. So they will provide attachment to the peripheral margin of medial menisci. So if you consider this as the menisci, then the base or peripheral margin of the menisci, medial menisci, will be attached to the capsule as well as the deeper portion of tibial collateral ligament. This is the medial menisci, and here we will mark this structure as the medial menisci. So tibial collateral ligament is over. Now we start with the fibular collateral ligament. In the fibular collateral ligament, same as tibial collateral ligament. First, the primitive origin, that is morphologically it represents the primitive continuation of fibers of peroneus longus muscle. It will represent the morphological fibers of peroneus longus muscle, fibular collateral ligament. Please note down. Second, you have to draw this ligament. So therefore, this ligament will be, upper end is attached to the lateral epicondyle of the femur, lateral epicondyle of the femur, and lower down it will be attached to the apex of the styloid process of the fibula. it will be attached to the apex of the styloid process of fibula. So this will be the fibular collateral ligament. Upper end, which is attached to the lateral epicondyle of the femur, lower end it is attached to the apex of the styloid process of the upper end of the fibula, here, fibular collateral ligament. Next important point will be this fibular collateral ligament is not attached to the capsule. So if I draw the capsule here on this side, the capsule will be in this way. This is the capsule. So there will be space between fibular collateral ligament and the capsule. It will not be adherent to the capsule. And naturally this space is occupied by one tendon of the muscle, and that will be popliteus muscle. So here I am going to draw, this is the cross section of the tendon of popliteus muscle, which will be present between the capsule deep inside and covered by fibular collateral ligament. And along with this tendon of popliteus, there will be various vessels, and those vessels will be inferior lateral genicular vessels. So here, these are the inferior lateral genicular vessels. So therefore, this completes the fibular collateral ligament, and we are going to mark here, this will be fibular collateral ligament. Similarly, here we are going to mark this as popliteus, tendon of popliteus, and these structures we are going to mark as inferior lateral genicular vessels. So therefore, this is fibular collateral ligament. See the diagram and remember it in this way. Between the fibular collateral ligament capsule, there will be the presence of tendon of popliteus and the inferior lateral genicular nerves and vessels. Similarly, tibial collateral ligament on this side, in between the superficial and deep part of tibial collateral ligament, there will be the presence of semimembranosus muscle as well as inferior medial genicular nerves and vessels. And the deeper portion of the tibial collateral ligament is adherent to the capsule as well as the peripheral margin of the medial meniscus. What about lateral meniscus here? The lateral meniscus will be attached, the peripheral margin of lateral meniscus is attached to the capsule only. It will not be attached to fibular collateral ligament. So this is how you draw lateral meniscus. So this is the lateral meniscus which is attached to the capsule, the peripheral margin which is attached to the capsule. And please mark here, this will be lateral meniscus. So therefore, here we finish the fibular collateral ligament. Now, oblique popliteal ligament. Oblique popliteal ligament, many times it is asked as 1 mark question answer, very often. This oblique popliteal ligament, if I would like to represent the oblique popliteal ligament, the oblique popliteal ligament will be an extension of expansion from semimembranosus muscle. So therefore, on this side, please come on this side here, I am going to draw the posterior surface. Now this will suffice as the posterior surface of the femur, and of course these are the condyles of the femur, and here we are going to, I am going to draw the tibia. This will be the tibia on this side, and of course I am going to draw fibula on this side. So this is where I will draw the fibula. I hope this is visible. Okay. So this is fibula, posterior surface, femur, tibia, fibula. So this will be the lateral condyle, this will be the medial condyle. Now, where is the attachment of semimembranosus muscle? The attachment of semimembranosus muscle will be on the upper margin of the posterior-medial part of the medial condyle of tibia. So here there will be attachment of semimembranosus muscle, and this is the semimembranosus muscle on the upper part of posterior margin of the upper part of posterior medial margin of the medial condyle of tibia, semimembranosus. Now, from semimembranosus muscle, the oblique popliteal ligament fibers will start. So, these oblique popliteal ligament fibers from the semimembranosus muscle will pass upwards and laterally. So, they are passing upwards and laterally in this way. This is how these fibers will pass the oblique popliteal ligament, and these fibers will be attached to the lateral part of intercondylar area of femur. And second most important attachment of oblique popliteal ligament will be the fibers will be merging with capsule. Remember, during the discussion of capsular ligament in the previous segment I had referred to, the capsule is reinforced posterior to the knee joint by oblique popliteal ligament. So therefore, the oblique popliteal ligament fibers will merge with the capsular fibers of knee joint in the posterior region. So here these fibers are merging with the posterior surface of the capsule of the knee joint, and altogether it will form the floor of the popliteal fossa. Mark this important sentence: these fibers will form the floor of popliteal fossa when they are merging with the posterior surface of the capsule. So therefore, this will be the oblique popliteal ligament. Where are they attached? Lower attachment, it is present as an expansion from the insertion of semimembranosus muscle. Fibers are passing upwards laterally. Some fibers are inserted into the upper part of the lateral part of the intercondylar area of the femur, and majority of the fibers are attached to the posterior part of the capsule of the knee joint, where they form the floor of popliteal fossa. Now here, one mark question answer is this, what I am going to tell you. The oblique popliteal ligament is pierced by what structures? Many MCQs can be asked for one mark question answer. The oblique popliteal ligament is pierced by middle, genicular, nerves and vessels. So first you write down middle, genicular, nerves, oblique, vessels. These structures will pierce the oblique popliteal ligament. Which is the second most important structure which is piercing the oblique popliteal ligament? The second important structure which pierces the oblique popliteal ligament will be, this is the first structure, second structure will be genicular branch of posterior division of obturator nerve. This is very important. Genicular branch of posterior division of obturator nerve. So two structures are piercing the oblique popliteal ligament: middle, genicular, nerves and vessels, and the genicular branch of posterior division of obturator nerve. This is a frequently asked one mark question answer. So when we come on this side, please come on this side. Here we have finished the oblique popliteal ligament. Now we come to arcuate ligament. All these ligaments are very interesting. Very interesting. So please come on this side once again. Arcuate ligament, Y-shaped. So please note down here, if I just write down arcuate ligament, it is typical Y-shaped, where the stem of the Y will be attached to the apex of the upper end of the fibula, apex of the head of the fibula. So here, this is where the stem is attached, arcuate popliteal ligament. And here I am going to mark down arcuate ligament. This will be known as arcuate ligament. So therefore, the arcuate ligament, the stem of the Y is attached to the apex of the head of the fibula. Now, it is divided into two slips, superficial, deep. The superficial slip will arch over popliteus muscle. So where should be the popliteus muscle? The popliteus muscle is present in this way. This is how the popliteus muscle is present. It is taking origin from the popliteal groove, which is present just below the lateral epicondyle of the femur. And this popliteus muscle will be inserted on the tibia. It is directed downwards and medially, popliteus muscle. So here we are going to mark this as, this will be the popliteus muscle. It is attached to the apex of the head of the fibula, that is the stem of the Y. The stem of arcuate ligament, which is Y-shaped, is attached to the apex of the fibula. It is divided into two slips, superficial and deep. The superficial slip will cover the popliteus muscle. So it is going to cover the popliteus muscle, and this slip will be inserted on the, where is it inserted? On the upper part of medial condyle of tibia. It is covering the popliteus muscle and it will be inserted into the upper part of medial condyle of tibia. This is the attachment of superficial slip of the arcuate ligament covering the popliteus muscle. What about the deep slip? Sometimes, very rarely, the deep slip is absent, and in those cases when it is present, it will pass deep to the tibial collateral ligament. Not tibial, but fibular collateral ligament. So it will pass deep to fibular collateral ligament. So here it is covered by fibular collateral ligament. The deep slip is passing deep inside, and it will be attached to the lateral condyle of the femur. So if I show the deep slip, I will show that this is where the deep slip is present, and it will be attached to the lateral condyle of the femur. So this is the attachment of the deep slip of the arcuate ligament. So it is Y-shaped. Now please come on this side. Here we have finished our arcuate ligament also. Now we come to cruciates, one of the most important ligaments of the knee joint, cruciates. Anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament. In order to understand the anterior and posterior cruciate ligament, we will draw here. I will create some space over here. We are going to draw both the cruciate ligaments, and these cruciate ligaments are in the form of X-like structure, and that X-like structure, because they are directed from tibial part to femoral part. Remember, the names anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments are according to the tibial attachment, not femoral attachment. Anterior cruciate ligament is in the anterior intercondylar area of the tibia, and posterior cruciate ligament will be in the posterior intercondylar area of the tibia. So therefore, here we are going to draw just a simple line diagram in which we are going to show this will be the superior surface of the tibia. This is the superior surface of tibia. This is the tibial tuberosity or tibial condyle, and here this will be the intercondylar eminence, and on this side, anterior intercondylar area, this will be the posterior intercondylar area. Now always remember, the attachment of the anterior cruciate ligament will be in the anterior intercondylar area of tibia, and that of the posterior cruciate ligament will be in the posterior intercondylar area of the tibia. So therefore here, this will be the anterior intercondylar area here. Just for the sake of marking, this will be the posterior intercondylar area of the tibia, and therefore we are going to mark this as the medial lateral menisci, and there will be anterior cruciate ligaments. The anterior cruciate ligament here will be located in between the medial and lateral menisci. So therefore, anteriorly we are going to mark here. First we are going to mark the anterior cruciate ligament. This will be the anterior cruciate ligament. Here, this is the anterior cruciate ligament, which is located between the medial meniscus and lateral meniscus. That is the anterior horns of medial meniscus and lateral meniscus. So here, this will be the anterior horn of medial meniscus. This will be the anterior horn of lateral meniscus. This is how the cruciate ligament is present in between these two anterior horns of the medial and lateral meniscus. So therefore, here, this will be anterior cruciate ligament. This structure over here, anterior to it will be anterior horn of medial meniscus, and the structure present here will be the anterior horn of lateral meniscus. That is lateral meniscus anterior horn. Now, in the posterior intercondylar area, what we need to show will be where is the location of posterior cruciate ligament. So the posterior cruciate ligament, if I draw over here, this is the location of posterior cruciate ligament. It is always located behind the posterior horns of medial and lateral menisci. So here I am going to draw now these two, medial and lateral menisci. So these are the posterior horns of medial and lateral menisci. It is located behind the posterior horn of medial and lateral menisci, and this is the posterior cruciate ligament. What are these two structures? Once again, this structure over here will be the posterior horn of the lateral meniscus, and this structure over here, this will be the posterior horn of medial meniscus. These are the arrangement of structures in the anterior and posterior intercondylar areas of tibia, and this is very much frequently asked in Viva as well as in 1 mark question answer. What are the arrangement of structures? So anterior cruciate ligament will be attached on anterior intercondylar area of tibia in between the anterior horns of medial and lateral menisci. Whereas the posterior cruciate ligament will be located in the posterior intercondylar area of the tibia just behind the posterior horns of the medial and lateral menisci. Now from here these two cruciate ligaments will start upwards. The fibers will be starting upwards. And how they start upwards? Please come on this side. Here I am going to show how they are starting upwards. For example, the anterior cruciate ligament, from its origin on the tibia, it will be passing upwards and it will be attached to the medial surface of lateral condyle of the femur. Medial surface, and here this is the lateral condyle. So the anterior cruciate ligament will be attached here on the medial surface of lateral condyle of femur, and this is how the anterior cruciate ligament will be attached. The anterior cruciate ligament is attached in this way. So therefore, upper attachment of anterior cruciate ligament, it will be on the medial surface of lateral condyle of femur, posteriorly. What about the posterior cruciate ligament? The posterior cruciate ligament upper attachment will be on the lateral surface of medial condyle of femur, anteriorly. Lateral surface of medial condyle of femur, anteriorly. This is how the cruciate ligament upper attachment will be present. So these two attachments, as they are crossing in the form of X, they are called cruciate ligaments. And these two cruciate ligaments, lower attachment and upper attachment, should be very clearly, it should be very clear. And as these ligaments are present in the form of X-like manner, they will prevent the lateral movements of tibia and fibula. And 1 mark question answer will be the anterior cruciate ligament. The anterior cruciate ligament will be taught in extension. So it will prevent hyperextension, and it will prevent the forward displacement of the tibial condyles. It will prevent the forward displacement of the tibial condyles, and it becomes tight, it becomes taut during the extremes of extension. Anterior cruciate ligament. It will prevent hyperextension as well as it will prevent the forward displacement of tibial condyles. What about posterior cruciate ligament? It becomes taut during flexion. So it prevents the backward displacement of the condyles of tibia. So altogether this anterior cruciate ligament becomes taut in extension and posterior cruciate ligament becomes taut in flexion, and therefore they prevent the lateral movements of tibia and fibula, and more or less anterior cruciate ligament will prevent hyperextension. So therefore these are the cruciate ligaments. With this we end the cruciate ligaments also, we end the ligaments of the knee joint. Thank you very much.